fact that we are celebrating Shabbat as every week. This is a very special Shabbat. Among other reasons, we'll talk about some of the very specific reasons. But in general, for all Jewish people, besides the fact that Iyar is coming up to the Torah, which is an important thing for our community and ultimately for all the Jews. It is a very special Shabbat also, because we celebrate 75 years to the state of Israel. And 77 years ago, this was a dream, but not a tangible reality. This is a matter of fact. Our people was dreaming for a place, a national home, for 2,000 years. So after dreaming for 2,000 years, 75 years, it feels like 5 minutes, which just got started. So we'll be talking about that later on. In the meantime, in this service, we will add some melodies that were composed by Israelis. We'll start with the nigun, with a melody with no words. So even if you don't know the melody, we'll invite you to join us after we sing it once or twice. It's quite easy. Shabbat song. We'll turn our Sidurim to page 129. 129 for the words of Dodi Lee from the Song of the Songs, from Shir Shirim. I am my beloved and my beloved is mine.
Me
blessed family to lead us in the lighting of the candles at Lakat Anerot that you can find on page 120.
Yeah, go with your mom and dad too.
A family affair.
And Matthew too.
First light the candles, and then we say the blessing. You got it.
Olam. Asher Kidshanu b'mitzvotav, Tzivanu hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom, toda rabah. Shake hands. I acknowledge you once again, all of you. Come on, Matthew, you can do it. We can do it. It was a hard one, yes. Shar koach. We'll now turn our Sidurim to page 130. Lechunan and Allah Adonai will walk toward welcoming Shabbat.
Lechuneranena l'Adonai nariya letzur ishenu nekadma fanam betoda bizmirot nariya lo nekadma fanam betoda bizmirot nariya lo.
Page 131, Shir Adonai. New song.
Shir Adonai, Shir Hadash, Shir Adonai, Kol haaretz, Shir Adonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom, Yeshuato, Sapru v'goyim, Kevodo, Bechol ha'amim, Nifleotav.
Adonai Malach on page 132. Tagel haaretz ismechu ihim rahabim. Light is on for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in the presence of God and acclaim God's holy name. Mizmor Shir Adonai on page 133. Shir Hadash ki niflahot asa. We sing a new song. We try to somehow recognize the many wonders, the many miracles that we have in our lives. In Shabbat, we take time to acknowledge those gifts, things that sometimes we take for granted. Just go about our days. We don't think about the gifts that we have too much. Shabbat is an invitation to recognize those wonders, those things, and to somehow gather them into our hearts. We're on page 134. Zamru Adonai, Psalm 95.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayamum lo, tevel v'yoshvei
אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. We turn our Sidurim to page 136 as we hope for each one of these poems, each one of these psalms, each one of these melodies become a step in a stairway that help us climb into the experience of holiness, of the holiness of time. Help us enter the palace in time. It's more de David, Psalm 29.
Mismo le David, avul Adonai b'nei Elim. Mismo le David, avul Adonai kavod va'od. Mismo le David, avul Adonai b'nei Elim. Mismo le David, avul Adonai kavod va'oz. Avul Adonai kavod va'oz. Avul Adonai kavod shemo. Avul Adonai kavod va'oz. Avul Adonai kavod shemo. Yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Adonaios
At the bottom of page
Lemo
137.
yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonaios Lemo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Adonaios Lemo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonaios Lemo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
On page 138, the poem that stands at the middle, at the center of Kabbalat Shabbat, that invites us to see Shabbat as a bride, as a queen, as a majestic presence. Here at Shir Hadash we sing the first, the second, the fifth, the sixth, and the 9 verses of Lechadodi. Maybe one day we'll try 9 of them, but today only 5. The first, the second, the fifth, the sixth, and the 9th. And hopefully each of them help us enter this Shabbat experience more and more. And by the last one, and number 9, when we say, Boi v'shalom, boi kala, come in peace, beloved bride, we invite you to rise, if you are able to, in your spirit, in your body, and to turn toward the entrance of the synagogue as we'll try to imagine that presence coming into our midst.
לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמע וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור המלאכה. בקדם נשוכה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי,
התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נקלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
לא תבושי ולא תקהלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי. יחסו עניי ימין, ונבנתה עיר על תילה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
בואי כלה, בואי כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. פני שבת נקבלה. While you're standing, we want to invite you to go around and to say Shabbat Shalom to people that you know, but make sure that you say Shabbat Shalom to someone that you don't know. It is a mitzvah to welcome each other with a smile, so let's make sure that everybody fulfills that mitzvah. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. אוי כלה, אוי כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. אוי כלה, אוי כלה, אוי כלה. אוי כלה, אוי כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. אוי כלה, אוי כלה, אוי כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. פני שבת נקבלה. Ian, join us. Just stand here. Just take the microphone. Just guilty. And stand forward. Page 140. Shir le'yom ha'Shabbat, mizmor mizmor shir. Shir le'yom ha'Shabbat, mizmor mizmor shir. Shir le'yom ha'Shabbat, mizmor mizmor shir. Shir le'yom ha'Shabbat.
Page 140. Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor, Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor, Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat.
Page 144. Chetzi Kaddish.
Gadol v'yitkadash shemei rabah
Amen.
be'almai divrehem
Rutei yamlich malchut
Ute.
Bechayechon uvyomechon uvchayedecho Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman karib.
ve'imeru
Amen. Hey Shmei Rabba Mevarach, Le'alam Ulam Mehamaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Yishtabach,
ve'yitpa'ar
Roma Ve'yitaseh, Ve'yitadar, Ve'yitaleh, Ve'yitalam, Shemei Kedusha, Brichu, Le'ela Mincho Birchata, Eshirata, Tushbechata, Enechemata, Damiran Ve'alma, Ve'imeru, Amen.
I invite you to turn your Sidurim to page 146 for Baruch. The first prayer before the Shema. Please rise. We'll turn to Jerusalem, to Jerusalem, our eternal capital. Jerusalem is in that direction, friends.
et Adonai
Seated. We are on page 148. Please join me. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening Baruch Ata Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim, Abat Olam, Beit Israel, Amcha A'avta. Next page. Hukim, I want to tell you something, a secret about our prayer book. What's the name of the prayer book? No, that's the specific name, but what's the name of the Jewish prayer book? Sidur, right? The word Sidur sounds like what other word that we use a lot in our tradition? Seder. And what's the meaning of the word Seder? Order, page by page. Right? Like there is a rationale that once you finish one page, you go to the next one. You go to the next one. So often we don't say just turn the page, because the Sidur, we sometimes make liturgical choices and we skip pages, or we go back and forth and we play around. But the beauty of Jewish prayer is that it's meant for each of us to actually pray 3 times a day on your own. So the Sidur tries to guide. Not that we liberal Jews, most of us don't pray at least that way, right? But when you open a Sidur, the Sidur is for everybody. So the idea is evening prayer, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And there is something that is a sequence of things that we try to gather. And the sequence that we are trying to gather before the Shema is a sequence that goes, I want to point that out, I think it's quite beautiful. I want you to see that. In page 148, you shall say the blessing for what? For creation, that's a possibility. But the topic of the blessing, the name of the blessing, comes in the last words. Ma'ariv Aravim, who brings on evening, or who makes the time pass. So that makes me aware of the passage of time. And we talk about like all this beautiful nature and the beauty of time. And once we recognize that, we say, Avat Olam, you have loved us with everlasting love. Now, the idea before the Shema, and then we say, and you love us. We, the people of Israel who are praying now at Shir Hadash in Los Gatos, we feel particularly loved. The community of Yair, the community of Shir Hadash, the community of Cantos, the community of rabbis, whatever community, we try to make it personal. Why? Because from that place in which we personally feel loved is that we can say that we are one with God, that this world was created for us. And for that place is that after the Shema, what are the first words that we say? Be'afta. Then we actively try to bring our love into the world. It's not anymore about the perception of love that we have. It's about our ability to go out to the world and share love with others. And every single thing happens in a sequence. And one more, what happens after Be'afta, after saying that we have the ability to love?
Geula.
The blessing for redemption. Then we say that we have the ability to overcome obstacles that sometimes feel impossible, because we know that we are loved, because we know that we are connected to each other and to God, and because we know that we have the capacity to love. And from that place that we can overcome big obstacles. All those are in a seder, in a sequence. So I'm about to enter this sequence and to say, Avat Olam Beit Israel Amcha A'avta. We'll rejoice in your Torah forever, day and night. We will reflect on your mitzvot, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Beloved God, please never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch Ata Adonai, O Evermore Israel. We turn our Siddurim to page 152 for the Shema.
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. On page 156. אמת באמון הכל, סוד וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. When your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. We are on page 158. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, צהלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם בעת. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חסה ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. As we promised, we're going to use some Israeli melodies today. This is a very popular Israeli melody we will use for Ashkiveinu, the blessing that we say often when we are in bed, the blessing for internal peace that we follow with Beshamru, with a reminder before Filat Amidah, before our personal prayer that it is Shabbat, and we try to connect in our prayers, in our thoughts with that idea. We're going to start from the bottom of page 160, the mid-third.
The indented part.
שלום, ואתה ועד עולם. השמיים והארץ ובארץ ובו ביום השביעי וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
As we are turning toward Jerusalem, our eternal capital, we turn our Sidurim also to page 164 for the opening words of Filat Amidah, our personal prayer, the center of our service. We invite you to follow along the millennia-old words of our tradition, page by page, or alternatively, to take a moment to think about your personal prayer, the things that require your attention and your intentionality, the prayer of your heart, the tefillah שבלב. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonis, open up my lips that my mouth may declare, that my mouth may declare your praise. רצון, אמרי פי, הגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני, צורי בגואלי, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. The one who makes peace will make peace for us, for all of us, for all those who inhabit the earth, for all the people of Israel, particularly in these days in Israel that are so complex. I us say Amen. We will add one more prayer to this moment of communal prayer. Misheberach. We invite you to share the names of those that you are thinking about in this Erev Shabbat. If you are thinking of someone dealing with illness in their bodies, in their souls, carrying grief, dealing with addictions, we invite you to share their names as we will soon recite Misheberach. You don't have to stand. We can hear you with us. Cinco Thierry. Shlema.
Debbie Pink and Joey.
Bruce Roberts, Alfreda Massman, Diane Siegel, Jill Becker, Gail Franco, Scott Van Gundy, Daphne Talmor, Mira Engel, Dave Stahl, Greg Herb, Marie Siegel, Marvin Lombard, Sherry Stone, Esther and Rusty Gronick, Bruce Prevail, Lori Shakin, Harold Kennemer, Sue Leiter, Laura Sternberg, Laura Bond, Richard Ravitch, Bernice Harris, Franklin Wolfson, Marilyn Gregan, and John Gantley. Misheberach is on page 371.
Misheberach imotenu mikol habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema. Renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, wish to all of them, to all of you, to all of us, a complete recovery and well-being. Let us say Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So, last week, not this last week, but 2 weeks ago, actually. I was last week in the US, but 2 weeks ago, I went to Israel. I flew on Saturday night. I arrived to Israel somehow on Sunday night. I was late at night, and I was hoping I will get the train, and I couldn't work with the app. I am Israeli, or quite Israeli, so I checked the website of the train. It didn't work. Trains used to be all the night through. I stopped. There's a coffee shop I like, so I stopped. I went to Aroma. I got an iced Aroma diet, and I felt like I was in heaven. I took my suitcase. It was a very small one. It was a carry-on suitcase because I was going to be there for only 4 days. And I went to a rakevet, to the train, and the security guard tells me, "This is the last one." He helped me out. I I passed without paying the ticket. I promised that I was going to pay when I arrived to Haifa, and the train left. So I came back to the airport, like I just walked back, and the taxi driver who offered to take me when I was walking with my eyes aroma said, "Now do you want a cab?" And I was like, "Sure." So so we got to the car, and we start kind of a nice conversation. I said, "I need a couple of minutes." He said, "Do you mind if I listen to music?" I was like, "No, listen to music. I did a phone call that I wanted to do." I finished my phone call, and he asked me, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I don't want to enter this conversation." I knew, "What are you doing here?" "Well, I'm coming to the World Zionist Congress." "No, I'm going to see my parents-in-law." Right now, that was true. I was on my way to my parents-in-law. I wasn't going to lie. And so I'm going to see my parents-in-law. And my dad, who is waiting for me there. "Oh, and for how long you came?" 4 days. "You are such a good child." My dad doesn't know that, but whatever. So yeah, thank you. I was hoping, okay, that was the end of the conversation. And then he asked me, "Do you know what's going on in Israel, right?" Little bit. Not little bit. No, didn't want to engage. I didn't know his political views, didn't know what he stood for. I didn't want to have that conversation. It was 12 a.m., okay? It was already Monday. I started flying on Saturday night. I was sitting in the car going to Haifa. Daphne is also from Haifa. So I was going home in Haifa. No, didn't want to have that conversation. And then he said, "So, well, you know or you don't know?" A little bit. I watch the news. We go back and forth. We have some conversation. And then I couldn't. He started to say all kinds of things. And then he says, and this is a very interesting statement, he says, "Because the left doesn't want for the state of Israel to be Jewish anymore." I was like, okay. Is that how you understand it? Do you think that when they go to a demonstration, 200,000 people, what they are saying is no more Jewish state? Because I heard Jewish and democratic. That's what I heard. And he says, "No, they don't really want a Jewish state." Okay. What do you think they want? They want just normal, like America, where you live. Okay. America is not normal, but whatever. So okay, So we go back and forth again in this conversation, and he says, "Yeah, they oppose the prohibition of eating chametz, of eating leaven products in the hospital for Passover." I preach about that, saying that was a stupid rule, right? I condemned that rule, and I said, "Well, I can see how people can get frustrated because it comes as a provision from the state. I believe that should be more like a personal choice, and people will follow and will connect better with Jewish tradition by making personal choices rather than the state dictating what they should eat or not, or if they can eat pita in Passover or not." Well, we go back and forth, but he felt very strongly about this idea. Those that are demonstrating, and it's not only the left, there are many people in the right, the demonstrations in Israel are very strong, and they're pretty wide, don't want the Jewish state anymore. And then he asked me, "What do you do?" I like non-profit management. Hey, it's true. So I try not to lie. "What do you do?" "Non-profit management." "What kind of non-profit?" "Well, I'm a rabbi." And you're wrong. No, and so I'm a rabbi, and we had this conversation, and we had a very interesting conversation about religious views. And I asked him about his religious views. He was a well-educated man who had a serious Jewish background. We had an interesting interchange. But in his perspective of Judaism, it ended, the problems with Jewish tradition in Israel ended at the pita in the hospital. When I spoke about women not being able to access a normal divorce and being pretty much kept captive by rabbinical courts, he didn't know what I was talking about. When I spoke about burial rights and civic rights in the state of Israel, he didn't know what I was talking about. I said, well, I didn't know about that. So, okay, but that's the reality that dictates most people's lives. You don't know until the reality, it hits your face. So it was very interesting to me to have that conversation, and I immediately after, and it was very interesting to hear that perspective. And on Sunday, the other Sunday, after being in Israel, I needed to share a few words in the rally in Sunnyvale. And I want to share with you some of my remarks, and I want to contextualize them. So I introduced myself. And besides saying my name, I say that I was born in Argentina and that I am a Jew. Judaism is one of the most central components to my identity. And at the age of 20, I added the word Israeli to my identity with profound pride, even though the app for the train, I wasn't aware of that app. And I tried to work with the website. And then I said, well, I'm the rabbi of congregation Shir Hadash in Los Gatos. I believe in a Judaism of B'Tselem Elohim, of human dignity and not denigration of fellow human beings based on sexual orientation, nationality, skin color, or whatever reason people find to alienate others. I believe in a Judaism of Bal Tashchit and Tikkun Olam that doesn't destroy, and that when it recognizes something broken, it fixes it. Only a few weeks ago, we celebrated Passover, the holiday of freedom. And in our gatherings, in our sedarim, many of us said, Bechol dor vador omdim aleinu lechaloteinu. For thousands of years, we have dealt with enemies that threaten and challenge our existence. It is hard to grasp that today the integrity and the existence of the state of Israel are being challenged from within our midst. Our tradition teaches us that the Second Temple was destroyed because of unjustified hatred between siblings. Al-Sinat Hinam. This threat is presented as a judicial reform, but is in fact a judicial overhaul, which will strip the Supreme Court of its power, authority, and its independence. And if implemented, it will eliminate basic checks and balances and will give unchecked power to the majority and will no longer protect human and civic rights. I said then, I just returned from Israel, where I had the privilege to participate in a very meaningful and complex World Zionist Congress. Here and there, we share the fear for the future of our beloved country. Many of us walk around with the feeling of imminent loss, the anguish that something extremely valuable could slip away from our hands and get lost forever. The Torah and the Talmud teach us that when you recognize a lost item, you are obligated to announce that you have found it and to safeguard it until you can return it to its owner. In order to face this critical time and existential challenge to the state of Israel, there is something essential that we need to hold, that we cannot afford to lose. And that is tikvah, hope. This is particularly important for American Jews that feel disconnected and disfranchised from the state of Israel right now. Dear friends, it is critical to hold each other's hopes. If there is something we cannot afford to lose at this critical time, it's our hope. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said, optimism and hope are not the same. Optimism is the belief that the world is changing for the better. For those that speak Hebrew, you can coin it as Yeh Beseder. Yeh Beseder. Hope, on the other hand, is the belief that together we can make, we can work toward a better world. End quote. We are not an optimistic people, but we are the people of hope. Am tikva anachnu. The Zionist movement. We are celebrating 125 years to the first Zionist movement. The Zionist movement is a movement of hope. And our presence all over the world, in Tel Aviv, in Kaplan, in Jerusalem, in Jerusalem, in Haifa, in Berlin, in New York, and last week in Sunnyvale, and next week, on this weekend, in San Mateo, and the week after that in San Francisco, are an expression of that same hope. Israel is celebrating 75 years this week, and the real joy of this miracle urges us, Kuma be'ezrat Israel, to rise in support of Israel, and so we can shield its fragility in this moment. Israel is celebrating 75 years, and the words of its anthem, Od lo avda tikvateinu, our hope, once again the word lost, is not lost, have a different gravitas today and become our mission. Od lo avda tikvateinu, we shall not lose hope. That's our mission. Israel is celebrating 75 years, and here we are in our synagogues, in the demonstrations, standing on our feet. We say, Ine lo yanum velo ishan shomer Israel. The protectors of Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. During this time, we are standing filled with hope, committed to protect the miracle of a Jewish and democratic, not one of them, the two of them, Jewish and democratic state. So its light keeps shining onto the nations, and the next generations can also witness its glory. And every time that we light a mesoah, a torch, in the celebration of independence of Israel, of the state of Israel, we say, for the glory of the state of Israel, we say, let tiferet meinat Israel. And so I want to say, in this Shabbat of Parashat Acharei Mot Doshim, I want to rise our symbolic torch and to say, for the glory of the state of Israel, let tiferet meinat Israel. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue our service on page 587. And if you haven't done your bar mitzvah, I have like 3 gentlemen here. Like 1, 2, 3. We invite you to open the ark for Aleinu. Yeah, Matthew, Amitai, go ahead. Page 587, please rise as we open the ark. Leinu leshaveach ladon hakol, atet gedula leotzer vereshit, she'usam chelkeinu leachel et shemo. Tomorrow we'll take it. Leinu leamlich malchuto, אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים. May you always run to embrace Torah and to fulfill mitzvot. Wonderful. המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. היום ההוא, היום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. Thank you very much. Once we close that, you may be seated. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You may be seated. At this time, we take a moment to acknowledge mourners among our community. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, we invite you to please rise and to share with us the not yet. You have in Friday morning. You're out of Shiva, basically. You're Shloshim. It's interesting that we need to think about those things. May grace memory be a blessing. If you're during the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, please rise. If you are during the cycle of the first 30 days of mourning, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. You can also remain.
My mother, Dr. Grace G. Deutsch.
May her memory be a blessing. If you are during the cycle of the first year, first 11 months of mourning, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. Steve?
Arthur Jurdek.
Thank you. If you have a yahrzeit this week, the anniversary of someone's passing by this time of the year, in years past, please rise and share with us who you're remembering.
Jerry Wackshaw.
The congregation offers its condolences to Aaron Feigen on the death of his father, Alan Feigen, Jonah Anshel, Sharon Lowenbrown, Sheila Bamberger, Dr. Grace Deutsch, Larissa Glotzer, Stephen Bornstein, Richard Kennemer, Ethel Schenker, Varda Satki, Rabbi Khalid Shavit, Jack Long, Dr. Virginia Larson, Miriam Moore, Bob Sturman, Lenora Wang, Adam Richard Spilka, Shlomo Isifs, Howard Levine, Barbara Lombard, Claire London, Drago Herman, Merle Greenwald, Samuel Greenwald, Anita Comula, Bryce Lyon, Edna Stone, Miriam Davis, Lauren Janovich, Janet Wool, Charlene Kilgore, Ezra Sati Tsatki, Gideon Hoffer, Alvin Kramer Siegel, Velasta Vijanovich, Galina Butorina, Karen Imbalzano, Lillian Berman, Robert Bruce Myers, Abraham Karras, Scott Safadi, Norman Green, Marilyn Silverman, Leslie Heinal, David Green, Jeannie Porish, Estelle Abrams, Spencer Caney, Arthur Cherdak, John Ivers, Marilyn Handelman, Kay Dameron, Nira Marome, Andrea Cameron, Ziba Feruzin, Rosella Newton, Linda Sherry, Fred DeCastro, Sherry Skehan, and those who died at this season in years past. Anthony Lopez, Bertha Kula Zuckerman, Dana Idlovitz, George Zuckerman, Mary Louise Leeds, Nancy Goldsmith, Ruth Aaron, Ruth Fenster, Jerry Wagshaw. And now you can support our community by standing or sitting, joining us with your voices or your hearts for Kaddish Avilim, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 598.
גדל בהתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמה דברה חירותי, בהמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, דבר ביתרומם בהתנשא, בהתהדר, בהתעלה, בהתהלל, שבת הקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה בשירתה, תושבחתה בנחמתה, דמירם בעלמה, באמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May the memories of your beloved ones be always, always a blessing in your life. May grace memory be a blessing always in your life, Diane. Yes, Zichram Baruch, you may be seated.
So I'm going to highlight just a few announcements Shabbat Shalom. All of this you can find on our temple calendar.
I want to also know.
Okay, we're going to tag team here. All right.
Here you go.
So tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. we have Torah study in the library, followed by Shabbat morning services, where
You're right.
at 10:30, where Ian Meshies will be called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah.
So far, you're fine.
Awesome. Wednesday, May 3rd at 12 o'clock p.m. we have a Pirkei Avot study group. You can register for that on our website. You want to do Thursday, May 4th?
Yeah, do that. But the Pirkei Avot study group is a congregant-led initiative. We are so proud that groups of congregants are kind of blossoming with a study, independent study of Torah. We couldn't be prouder and more excited. We already have a pilot around Passover. This one is coming up, and so it's really, really great. And on
May 4th at 11:30 a.m. we have a talk with on Israel's crisis of democracy with Nadav Tamir. Lunch will be served, so please register on our
Nadav
website.
Tamir is a former counsel of the State of Israel in the United States. Right now is the president of J Street in Israel, and he'll be talking about the current crisis in Israel, and I will be probably arguing with him. So we are excited to have a conversation. Shir Hadash doesn't address this or that view, but we are happy and excited to have deep conversations about Israel. We celebrate engagement with Israel.
A lot going on next week. So on Friday, May 5th, sorry, I'm going back to March. On May 5th and Saturday, May 6th, please join us for Rabbi Nico's installation
And Community Brit.
and Community Brit.
So, by the way, we had some phone calls asking if we were going to perform a Brit to the community. We are not going to do that. I just want to make this clarification. Nothing bloody is going to happen in this event. So no Moel invited to this event. But the word Brit, it's interesting. Brit Milah, we say. Milah is circumcision. Milah, Brit, Milah means circumcision. Brit means covenant. So there's a congregational covenant. There's a pact, a covenant in which we want to commit to work together and have a thriving Jewish community with no circumcision whatsoever.
We invite you to join us for services on Friday night, of course, and that will be followed by a tish, which is an
Oneg.
where we will have lots of rabbis unfiltered.
I do want to mention the rabbis. Rabbi Lisa Levenberg will be joining us. Rabbi Hugh Sid Valencia will be joining us. Rabbi Danny Gottlieb will be joining us. Rabbi Stanley David will join us. Rabbi Josh Weinberg, Rabbi P.J. Schwartz, Cantor Deborah Felder-Levy, and me. So there's a lot of clergy in one room. We have, it's a lot. It's 7 and 1. 7 rabbis and a cantor enter into a big table. And we're going to have some stories, some songs. It's going to be a wonderful evening. So we encourage you to come. It will be fun.
It will definitely be fun. And then join us again on Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. where Torah study will be led by Rabbi Josh Weinberg. That will be followed by our Shabbat morning service and our formally installing or creating our Brit
Bring your hammers
with the rabbi.
so we can install the rabbi.
That will be 10:30, and that will be followed. Then we will all join together in a community lunch celebration, and then a panel discussion with Rabbi Stanley Davids and Josh Weinberg.
Just an interesting thing. That panel is called The Fragile Dialogue. The Fragile Dialogue is a book that Rabbi Davids published on Israel, bringing a variety of voices, talking about different identities in the state of Israel. It was published, I think, 5 years ago. One of the articles published in that book was written by Rabbi Josh Weinberg, and it was about the Declaration of Independence of the State of Israel, which is today deeply questioned as a valid and legitimate statement to define and characterize the state. So the two of them will be in conversation discussing some of the values of the Declaration of Independence, Megillat Atzmaut, of the State of Israel.
Sunday, May 7th, again, busy weekend. At 10:15 a.m., we have our congregational meeting. Please come and hear the state of the congregation.
On confirmation of the hiring of Rabbi Michael Walden, who will be joining us on a week before July 1st. Formally, Rabbi started on July 1st, but Michael apparently will be starting a week earlier, so we can't wait to welcome him.
That is for sure. On Friday, May 12th at 6:15 p.m., we have our Shabbat service with the Men's Club. And on Saturday and Sunday, May 20th and 21st, we will honor Rabbi Schwartz and for his celebration weekend. Lastly, this coming Sunday, from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., we have Bay Area Israel at 75 celebration. This is up the peninsula in San Mateo. You can find all of that information on our calendar website. Lots and lots
Only
of
that.
exciting things going on.
Cantor, go ahead. We will invite you now to turn your theory to page 122 for Kiddush of Shabbat. בערב בבוקר יום השישי, please rise, ויחול השמיים בארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי וחברותיי, now raise your cups, God. Gafem. באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. השבת. Ring. We will now take a moment to acknowledge and bless our creations, our children. Scott, we invite you to go stand with your children. We invite mine. At the end of Shabbat services, when we are sitting at our table, we take a moment to think about our creations, to think about the things that we are bringing into the world. We think of our children, we think of our parents, we think of our grandparents. We think of loving relationships that we are creating and are increasing love in this world. As we say, may God inspire you to be like the loving parents of the people of Israel, like Ephraim, Menashe, like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. And we say to all of them, Yevarechechem Adonai beish merechem. May God bless you and protect you. Yael Adonai panav elechem bichuneken. May God's light shine upon you and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elechem. May you find within you God's presence always. And may God bless you with the ability to love your siblings, to listen to them, to build peace with them, and to build miracles together. Because when we work together, when you work with each other, when we work with each other, we can really, literally work miracles. May God bless you with the possibility, with the privilege to see the state of Israel for many, 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 many years to come, and to have your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, seeing this miracle that we created after 2,000 years of wandering, of dreaming. May you get to see your dreams becoming true. And may God bless you with wholeness, with peace. וישם לכם, וישם לנו, shalom. Adonai os לעמיו ייתן. May God bless all its peoples with peace. Adonai יברך את עמו. May God bless us with the strength, with the courage to be makers of peace. את עמו בשלום. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, מבורך everybody. בשנה הבאה נצא על המרפסת ונספור ציפורים בודדות. ילדים עזוניה ישחקו תופסת בין המים לבין השדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. Shabbat shalom everybody, Shabbat shalom. Chavez, forgot to count the hammer, Cantor.